Hi everybody, this is Joseph Sharon, and I'm back again with another book review, if I could speak correctly. This is called The Haunting of Hill House. It's written by Shirley Jackson, and she also wrote The Turn of the Screw. Or wait, I think it was written by her. Yeah, I do believe that The Turn of the Screw was written by Shirley Jackson, but this the actual TV series was based upon this. And you can see where it takes the inspiration for it. I like the book and the TV series equally, even though the book itself takes place in an entirely different period of time with characters who are more harmonious versus that of the TV show. It's a dysfunctional family, and Nell and Luke are completely messed up and totally whacked out, and for good reason. We see why this is, and it also has unbelievable foreshadowing. It's one of those series that will take you for a ride, and just you'll be hanging on, white knuckling it the whole time. And this is the same way. It's a subtle kind of fear-inducing tale of a house that, of course, is haunted. And she writes in such a way that it really starts to creep into your psyche, and you start to think, well, what if this were actually so? And I know this for a fact because I have never lived in well, I could actually renege that, because when I moved into my apartment, I didn't know that I had a demon, for one thing, which I got rid of, thank God, but I also had a ghost. And having a ghost go through you is not the most pleasant thing to have experience, because it's this otherworldly, unearthly, horrifying, petrifying, chilling, literally chilling feeling that you'll have once the spirit actually moves through your body. And the whole room will be cold even if you don't have AC on. And I had that happen. It was so cold, I couldn't believe it. I thought, I gotta do something. I can't live like this, because I'm fearful, and I shouldn't be fearful. So I took care of it. I looked up videos. I used what knowledge I had of actually rebuking spirits and all that stuff, and it worked. So no more demon, no more spirits, thank God. But Eleanor is an interesting character. She's an interesting character in the series as well, and I always liked her character the best because she's very intriguing. I don't know if you could call it psychomancy, but there is a novel, it's called One White Crow. I did a review of it not too many years ago, but it was about, I forget the actual scientific name of this unusual ability, because it's so rare. And I think he was Native American, but I forget what tribe, unfortunately. But this was a man who could pick up an item from any era of time and tell who actually had it last, who had held it last, what it had gone through, any kind of emotion that was tied to the item. He could tell what the item was made out of, and if he could gather any kind of information from the item, because it would wash over him. It would overwhelm him, actually. All the senses, all sight, sound, touch. I don't know if taste played a part in his psychomancy, because I'm calling it psychomancy because I don't know what else to call it. But he just pinpoint objects in and of themselves, and he would say, well, this actually existed in, say, 1700s, or he'd say this existed in such and such, and somebody named Martha had it, or it was just so bizarre that he could be so precise with his knowledge on an item, even though that item was no longer held in the hand of somebody or used by somebody. It's just, that ability is so rare and just so unbelievable and uncanny and just paranormal. But I love that ability. I wish I had it sometimes, because I would love to go out to a field or dig somewhere if somebody was having something to that effect and they had a missing persons case. I would be, the forensics officers would call me, and I would go in and I would analyze it, and I would say, well, this happened and this is how this person died, and then I could trace it back. And yeah, they needed one of those people in Twin Peaks, actually. That would have been great, but no. Sorry to actually throw that in there, but just it brought that to mind. But the whole feel of the book is that of dread, that of just this encroaching what if, the whole thing of this, of the psyche, and how the mind itself can play tricks on you, and things like hauntings are real. So I hate to tell you, people, don't believe what the naysayers say, because the naysayers don't know what they're talking about. This stuff has been documented, so you can't turn down evidence. There's proof. And I've read tons of books about the subject, and I'm fascinated by it. I'm just so intrigued and captivated by the other world, the netherworld. I don't know if I could call it the netherworld or the void. Well, the void is purgatory. I always call the void purgatory or limbo. Its souls are stuck there until they are redeemed, or however the Catholic Church defines it. It's determinate on where you grew up. But I believe in purgatory, even though I'm Christian. I think that, yeah, if a soul needs a little extra redemption, it'll stay there for a while. It doesn't really say how long the soul will kind of stay in the waiting room for a while, and then once it's time, they can go either to paradise or hell, dependent. But I don't know. It's interesting. I've always found poltergeists terrifying. I've never dealt with one. I've dealt with a ghost, so ghosts are fine. this one, ugh. Yeah, it was very strange. I'll tell you a story before I sign off, but the specter I encountered, she was in my bathroom, of all places. Yeah, imagine that. Weird. Anyways, it was a youngish woman, probably in her 30s or some odd years, and she had a bob, very light blonde hair. It's like she was wearing a bright pink sweatshirt or a turtleneck, and it's a turtleneck. And all I could see was from her head down to her shoulders, and she was just minding her own business until I come to the bathroom, because I had to go to the bathroom. So she turns around, looks at me, cocks her head sideways, and then I didn't hear her voice, but she said, "What are you doing here?" I thought, I live here. I mean, I didn't say it out loud, but I thought it. Pretty sure that she could get the intention from my body language. But beyond that, I really like the book. I think it's just chilling, and if you like the TV series, I would highly recommend to read the book. And the next book, Bly Manor, not next book, but next TV show is going to be called Bly Manor. It doesn't come until October, and that one's based on the turn of the screw, and it's an old Victorian ghost story, which I love Victorian ghost stories. That's all I gotta say about The Haunting of Hill House. So until next time, live long, prosper, ciao, tutti.